Welcome, my name is not Nick Jonas. Today, in this video, we're going to talk about the 10 money mistakes that a lot of people make, especially in the US, especially young people. So we're going to start with some really common ones, and then we're going to get into the big ones that really impact your budget. We're going to go pretty quick here. I hope these help you guys out so you can see what to avoid. Not learning about money. They do not teach you anything useful about money in school, right? If they teach you to trade, it's how to day trade, and that's a horrible thing to learn unless you're really, really good at it. You're probably gonna end up losing money. They don't teach you about real estate investing, about how to balance a checkbook, how to do a budget, anything like that. It's just horrible information out there. So whether that's listening to audiobooks like I do, listen to 10 or 20 audiobooks, it'll make a huge difference, or listening to podcasts, or watching YouTube videos like this one. Wow, this is great information. I'm gonna like and subscribe. Now that we're done with our horrible B-roll section, I think that really is important is to learn, because we spend our entire lives working for money, right? Every day we go to a job, we exchange our time and our life essence, the best part of every single day, for money. So we need to understand how money works, how to make it work for us so that we're not continually trading our lives away for money. That doesn't mean you get obsessed about it, but if you can figure out how to make it work for you so that you don't spend your whole life a slave to it, that can make a huge difference. College. As someone who did not go to college, I don't think that most degrees pay off, because most people that I know with a degree do not use that degree. They work in a different field, or they just don't use it at all. So I think going into a trade or starting your own business is probably going to be more financially effective than going to school. Now, there's certain things that you need to go to school for. I don't want a doctor operating on me and they're like, yeah, I learned this on Google. You're going to be totally fine. No, you can't touch me, okay? I want somebody else. But for a lot of stuff, you don't need to spend 4 years and $100,000 going to school to, get an art history major, or get, it's like the one everybody uses. I don't know why that is. Like Car Talk, they're always like, oh, you're a heart. Anyways, do you guys listen to Car Talk? All right, I gotta focus. Anyways, everybody and their dog has a degree at this point. So having a useful skill, or working somewhere, or just knowing how to do it and not learning all the stuff that you don't need to learn. Because a lot of people, when they go to school, they learn how to get good at taking tests and how to pass a test. But you don't learn any real life experience. Now, some things obviously do, but for a lot of the time, just make sure you know what you're going for and you don't go just to go. That is why I did not go to school, because I didn't know what I wanted to go for. So if I was gonna spend 4 years of my life not earning money and going into debt, as opposed to spending those same 4 years earning money and learning about whatever subject I'm really into, and I can learn just as much as I could going to school, or maybe even more on the internet, taking courses, going to seminars, reading books, whatever it is. So for me, that is why I chose not to go to school. And also, you can get a ton of high-paying jobs. If your goal is to reach financial independence at a young age, in your 20s or 30s, then you can get a ton of high-paying jobs without a degree, by starting your own business again, or doing a real estate agent was one of the top things that popped up when I was Googling, high-paying jobs that you don't need a degree for, and you can do that at 18, like I did. Next one, we are cranking through these. Getting into debt. It's horrible. But there is good debt and there is bad debt. So good debt would be, for instance, the money I spent on this house hack, the debt that I have on it is actually making me money each month. So even though I owe $175,000 or whatever it is to the bank, I don't actually have to pay that because my tenants are paying it for me. So that is good debt, because that debt is making me money. I'm making money with the bank's money. And then bad debt is credit card debt. It can be student loans if you're not actually using your degree. It can be car debt. It can be, any type of consumer debt. It could be a ton of different things. So getting into that debt and strapping yourself for 10 years or 20 years into this debt just because we're spending too much, we're buying too much house, we're getting a degree that's gonna we're gonna be paying for forever. So especially a high interest consumer debt, if you're paying 16 or 30% or whatever it is on your credit card debt, that's losing 16%. If you could make 16% on your money, you would flip out. That would be awesome, right? If the stock market could do that, everybody would be chunking everything they have into it. But instead, if you're losing 14% or 10% or 8%, that's a lot of money that you're losing every single month because of that that bad debt. Next one is not having a budget. So if you are living paycheck to paycheck and you don't know where your money is going, you don't know how much you're spending on food, you don't know how much you're spending on housing and on your car, on your insurance, on your, your Netflix and your Hulu and your HBO subscriptions that just keep adding up, and your gym membership that you haven't used in 4 years, then that's going to end up costing you a lot of money every single month. You can use an app like Mint or just write it down on a piece of paper. Whatever it is, starting a budget can be a great first step and can really show you a lot of things. And once you start to control your spending, you can really start to control how much you get to start investing and therefore buying your freedom. Delayed gratification. So this is really buying wants and not needs and always going for that high. So this can be being very consumeristic, or getting a new car, for example. You get that little blip of happiness and then it'll come right back down afterwards. And this can be with a ton of different things. Usually by the time you get to the cash register when you're buying something, that blip of happiness is already gone, and then you're going to be paying that with your life, with all that time you're taking to work. That is what you're paying for that thing with. So really practicing delayed gratification in everything, whether that's working out, eating healthy, or spending, taking the time to set up a budget, taking the time to learn about finances. Even though that might not be the most fun thing, might not be exactly what we want to do all the time, it'll pay off huge down the road. Like, because I learned about house hacking, I learned about the travel hacking and all these other things, I took the time to learn about them. Now it's going to save me thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars over my lifetime, just because I took the time to learn about those things. So really practicing delayed gratification can help spend less, earn more, and invest the difference. Somehow I became a catchphrase machine. Your car. So this is really something that it really gets a lot of young people, because when you're about like 18, maybe you've been saving up your whole life, you've been working a lot, and you finally buy this car, and you buy more car than you need because you want to look cool with your friends or whatever it is. You buy a $12,000 car when all you needed was a $5,000 car, or you buy a $30,000 car when all you needed was, again, a $5,000 or a $10,000 car. And let's say now you're making 30 grand a year and you have $30,000 in debt on a car. You're working an entire year, more than a year, because you're paying taxes and you're paying everything else for a car. It's just craziness. So all that time you're going to work, it's to pay off the thing that is taking you to work. So just making sure your car is a tool, is an asset. It's not depreciating a ton because you're buying it cheap and then you use it for 3 years and then you sell it cheap and you do it again or whatever it is, instead of, taking a 10% hit the first year and a 10% hit the next year. Now you're just wasting all that money to go to work. So having a new car isn't always a bad thing, but if you cannot afford it and you're living paycheck to paycheck and you're buying way too much car, you're buying a new car and you're just taking that hit for no reason, it doesn't really make any sense if your goal is to reach, early retirement. So the next one is going to be housing. So maybe it's buying a $300,000 house when you need a $100,000 house, or $1 million house when you need a $500,000 house, depending on your market. Or not learning about house hacking, and therefore, like me, I have no housing expenses whatsoever. So having a house hack, whatever way you do that, you can check out that video to find out how to house hack. But paying that 30% of your income, which is what most people do, 30% of your budget towards housing, or paying 0% because you did it differently and maybe you live in the exact same place, that can make a huge, huge difference long term. Not starting a side hustle. I am a big proponent of the side hustle, as you can see in this video over here. But I think it's a great thing to have something that you're passionate about, that you can make money in, or at least make money in if you're looking to kickstart your trip towards financial independence. I keep saying that. But it's really can help a lot, especially if you're saving up for a house hack or for something else. It can really make a big difference saving that first 5 grand or 10 grand by having something on the side. So if your main job is covering all your expenses, this can be saving up towards buying that freedom, towards buying that asset that's going to make you money indefinitely. Not setting goals. Having goals can make a huge difference. So if your long-term goal is to reach financial independence, then maybe your short-term goal should be to save your first $1,000 or to save up for your first house hack, or maybe it's just to learn about a house hack so that each week you make sure that you're progressing and slowly moving up and closer to your overall goal, and it's really fun to have like a certain goal to reach, maybe your first house hack, and then you get it and you crush that goal, and it gives you that momentum and you feel like you can accomplish the next one, which is maybe 2 houses or 3. So whatever it is for you, set goals, knock them out, and thank you for liking and commenting and subscribing on this video. I really appreciate it, and I will see you guys next week. Feel free to click over to any one of these videos over there or over there.